Okay, good morning everyone. Thank you for meeting with us today. So we are from AFN Co Chartered Accountants and we will be auditing the purchase cycle of Manga Manufacturing Sdn Bhd for the year ended 31 December 2025. So, as required under ISA 300 is planning and audit, this meeting sets our audit objective, scope, timing and risk assessment.
Okay. Our audit focus on purchase of raw material, factory supplies, and administrative expenses. So, based on last year financial, we have set planning materiality at 150,000 in line with ISA 320. Materiality in planning and performing in audit. So, the key risks of material misstatement include first, fictitious purchase when recorded, second, unrecorded liabilities, third, incorrect cut-off near year end.
That is understood. You will have full access to all purchasing records, supplier files, and payment documents. Both the finance and planning departments are ready to help.
Yes, we have prepared a full set of current purchase documents, including recent purchase orders, supplier contract, and delivery record. So your team can review how our process works in real life.
Okay, excellent. That will help us understand your purchase cycle better. So let's proceed to reviewing your process.
Okay.
Privacy.
Thank you.
Ms. Kalisa, can you explain how a purchase move from requisition to payment?
Sure. When a department needs item, they fill a requisition form. Once approved, the purchasing department issue a purchase order and to an approved supplier. And then when goods arrive, the receiving department prepares a good receipt note after checking quantity and quality. And then the account matches the purchase order, goods receipt note, and also supplier invoice before payment is made using a payment voucher and then authorized by the finance manager and CFO.
To add on, each purchase order is linked to a specific supplier in our system. We keep all documents such as purchase requisition form, purchase order, good receipt note, and invoice filled by supplier name and purchase order number. I also handle quarterly supplier performance review to ensure reliability, delivery timeliness, and cost efficiency.
Okay. That is great. Those documents will form the evidence we will test for completeness and accuracy.
Good. Understanding this flow under ISA 315 helps us identify control strengths and weaknesses.
Ms. Kalisa, what are your main control activities over purchases?
For main control, there are four things. First, authorization control. Only approved department heads can raise purchase requisition. And the second, segregation of duties for requisition, ordering, receiving, and recording are done by separate personnel. And third, document control. All purchase documents are pre-numbered. So lastly, supplier verification. Only suppliers on the approved list can be used.
That is wrong. Have you identified any weaknesses recently?
Sometimes urgent orders are placed before the purchase order is approved and management signs the purchase order afterward.
Yes, especially when production needs material at once. We usually get email approval from the department manager, but it is not formal as a signed purchase order.
That is a weakness. Such urgent purchases may lead to unauthorized or fictitious transaction.
We have already reminded our staff to minimize that, but it is helpful that your audit highlights it again.
Okay, so if this control fails, misstatement include first overstate purchase expenses and then duplicate or fake supplier payments, and last one is cut off errors near year end. So we will design audit procedure under ISA 330 to test these areas.
Our audit objectives are to ensure purchases are valid, complete, accurate, and recorded correctly. Test of control. First, inspect sample of purchase order for authorization signatures. Second, observe three-way matching between PO, GRN, and invoice. Third is review access right to supplier record. And lastly, check payment voucher for dual authorization.
I can demonstrate how our system flags discrepancy automatically. For example, if the invoice price differ from the purchase order, the system blocks the transaction until regoing by purchasing.
That is excellent. A strong automated control like that reduces human error. Substantive procedure, which is first, watching, trace ledger, entries to support invoice, GRNs and PO, and then cut-off testing, which is review purchases near year end to confirm correct period. So third, analytical review, which is compare current versus prior year totals and investigate large variance. So, and the last one is supply reconciliation, which is match supplier statements to the purchase ledger.
We perform monthly supplier reconciliation, so it will be easy to share December's report.
Perfect. That will help confirm completeness and accuracy.
Under ISA 265, we must communicate deficiencies in internal control through a management letter.
We note one issue, which is urgent purchases process before formal purchase order approval.
That is true. To address this, we are introducing an emergency purchase form, which still requires online approval before ordering goods. This ensures documentation even under urgent circumstances.
Inventive idea. We should also document all retrospective approval with justifications and report them monthly to the CFO.
Okay, so I will formalize that procedure and have finance monitor it. We will also retrain staff on the new policy. Excellent. When these improvements are in place, your control will be stronger and audit risk reduced significantly.
After completing our procedure, we will evaluate whether the purchases in the income statement are free from material misstatement.
To summarize our compliance with ISA standards, first ISA 300 and 320, which is audit planning and materiality assessment. Second, ISA 315, understanding and evaluating internal control. And then ISA 330, which is performing tests of control and substantive procedure. And the last one is ISA 265, which is communicating deficiencies to management.
Thank you for your detailed review. We appreciate your professionalism and the constructive feedback.
We will make sure the purchasing department implements the new process and maintains proper documentation for every purchase going forward.
Perfect. Thank you everyone for your cooperation and transparency. This concludes our audit simulation on auditing the purchases cycle of Menga Manufacturing Senior Merhead. Thank you. Thank you everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Auditor. Thank you.
ISA 300 Planning and Audit of Financial Statement requires establishing an overall audit strategy, defining scope, timing and direction, and developing a detailed audit plan, specifying the nature, timing and extent of risk assessment and further audit procedures. Proper planning makes the audit efficient and effective.
ISA 315, which is identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement. The core risk assessment standard, it requires obtaining a deep understanding of the entity, its environment, and its system of internal control to accurately identify and assess the risk of material misstatement (RMM) at both the financial statement level and the assertion level.
ISA 320 Materiality in Planning and Performing an Audit, which deals with the concept of materiality and how it is applied. It requires determining overall materiality for the financial statements as a whole, and performance materiality and amount less than overall materiality used for testing individual accounts too.
ISA 330. The auditor's responses to assess risk. require designing and implementing overall response and further audit procedure whose nature, timing, and extent are based on and responsive to the assessed risk. This means performing tests of control if controls are effective and or substantive procedure, tests of detailed and substantive analytical procedures.
ISA 265 Communicating Deficiencies to Management. ISA 265 deals with the auditor's responsibility to communicate appropriately to those charged with governance and management deficiencies in internal control that the auditor has identified in an audit of financial statements. The objective of the auditor is to communicate appropriately to those charged with governance and management deficiencies in internal control that the auditor has identified during the audit and that, in the auditor's professional judgment, are of sufficient importance to merit their respective attentions.